We are standing in front of an innocent-looking building that's now a school. But for almost an entire century, it was the site of horrific acts of violence, murder, government-approved forced sterilizations, false imprisonments, and twisted things done to people by doctors in the name of science.
That's right, we're in Lapeer, Michigan, at the former site of the Michigan Home for the Feeble-Minded and Epileptic. It's here where eugenics were put into practice many years before Adolf Hitler picked up the idea in Nazi Germany. Plus, there's a graveyard hidden in the woods nearby where many of the remains of the former residents of this place are now located. We're going to go try to find it and show it to you. Plus, we're going to tell you more about the horrific things that happened inside these walls. I'm Chris, this is Heather, and we cordially invite you to come along for the adventure.
Come along. One of the main reasons they decided to build the facilities in Lapeer County is because there is a river right here that they wanted to put human waste in.
That was the plan. Unfortunately for them, some of the locals, as you can imagine, didn't care for this plan too much because human waste would have been flowing all through their rivers and through their lakes through town. Crazy. So they stopped that. However, the county did agree to give them 5 years of free water when they first opened the facility.
Lapeer was up against several other counties in the area to get the home. More than 1,000 people applied to work here when it first opened.
Now there's only this building and the one over there that we're going to show you in just a little bit left of the facility. But at one point, there were 98 buildings on more than 1,100 acres. It was actually bigger. The population of the facility was larger than the city it was located in, the city of Lapeer at that time. By the mid-1940s, almost 5,000 people lived here at the Michigan Home for the Feeble-Minded and Epileptic. In July of 1924, a woman by the name of Blanche Burke was working in the laundry facility here at the home. She was not a resident. She was found strangled on DeMille Road, which runs past here. A 20-year-old resident by the name of Lewis Johnson later confessed to the crime. He had been living at the facility since he was just 2 or 3 years old. Burke had apparently reported Johnson for talking to girls, which the facility did not allow. So Johnson told another resident he was going to kill Burke, which is what he did. In October of 1949, a woman by the name of Elizabeth Fox, who lived at the facility, was allowed to go out on parole to work in the community in order to make some money. So she got a job working at the Mertz family home. She didn't appreciate how Mrs. Mertz was treating her, so she stabbed her several times while she was laying in bed. Mrs. Mertz survived, but lost an eye in the attack.
So one of the issues that causes a great concern is that it didn't take much for someone to get dropped off here and to be accepted.
Sorry, they pretty much accepted anybody. I even read that like men whose wives were going through menopause, they'd go drop the wife off at the facility. Some of them would come back and get them a little later on. Others would just leave them here.
Once someone became a resident of the facility, the state would often force them to be sterilized. According to one researcher, 2,336 people were sterilized at the facility. About 3/4 of the sterilizations were done on women. It was during this period of time that Dr. John Harvey Kellogg, who is the inventor of cornflakes, which are still being sold by the Kellogg Company, started a race and betterment foundation in 1911 in Battle Creek, Michigan. He was a strong supporter of forced sterilizations, and he wanted people who had good traits to marry and have large families. Michigan became one of the worst states in the country for sterilization, with Lapeer being the worst county in the state for it. Later, Hitler began forced sterilizations in Germany, taking the idea from the United States. It became less popular here at that point. We have now made our way on over to this beautiful old Lapeer County Courthouse, which was built in 1846.
Hey, you see some gold numbering up there, 1846, but we're more interested in what we find on the outside of this building, which is a plaque. The plaque says, "Protecting the Impaired." And obviously, Lapeer County is very proud of this. They still have it up at the old courthouse. The problem is that it didn't really protect the impaired. It only protected the impaired who had parents or guardians who were available to stop the forced sterilizations from happening. What happened was a young lady they were trying to sterilize her at Oakdale, and she didn't want to be sterilized. Her mom stepped in and said, "I don't want her sterilized." So they took it to the court. It was upheld by the Supreme Court of Michigan that you cannot forcibly sterilize someone who doesn't have parental or guardian permission. However, most of the people staying at the insane asylum had no parents or guardians that they could get in touch with, so they continued to do the sterilizations on them for many, many years after this law was passed, unfortunately.
So sad. The facility had several names through the years, with the final name being Oakdale Regional Center for Developmental Disabilities. Many people simply referred to it as Oakdale, which is what the cemetery for the facility is now called. We're heading back into the woods to find the cemetery. We have now made our way over to Oakdale Cemetery.
This is the cemetery where they buried the bodies of people who died while they were here at the home. Now I want to show you this. This is literally in the middle of the woods, hidden. There are no markers, nothing. Nothing to even let you know it's here. No historical markers or anything. It's literally hidden in the woods. Let's see if we can get a look at this on here. It's hard to see on the iPad with the glare, but here, as I look at it from Google Maps, you can see Oakdale Cemetery right there in the middle of the woods here in Lapeer.
Over here, we found dozens of grave markers.
They go all the way from right about in here, all the way to the wood line over there. But at some point, right around in here, they stop. Makes you wonder why the field is continuing to be maintained. Obviously, it's being maintained by somebody here in Lapeer. And this whole area has nothing, no markers, no nothing. Just the grass is cut and kept up with. But if you'll notice the ground out through here, it looks like there are divots in the ground as if there are graves. A mass grave, perhaps? Many unmarked graves? What do you think? What do you think? Tell us in the comment section below. We don't know. Nobody's telling us anything.
We think that they're definitely hiding something.
Look at the size of this area all the way through here. No markers.
Why would they maintain it for nothing?
Now let's take a walk through the cemetery. Many of these headstones are right on the ground and very hard to read. Each of them seems to have a number, perhaps a 3-digit number there at the bottom. Also hard to read that there. This one's kind of standing up. Looks like it says Eunice Vickles, something like that. Some moss growing on it. Another one with a 3-digit number on the ground. Over here we have, assume would be George P. Grover, 1897 through 1937.
Over here we found some headstones. It appears they have been moved.
They're right there behind us. There's a whole row of them here. Most of them are about half broken off on the top. It appears that they came from somewhere else here on the cemetery and were put right here. Kind of strange. Frederio Benier, 1918 through 1935, at rest. Here's a lookout at other parts of the cemetery. Aunt Lynetta Toots Shaw, November 10th, 1915, September 18th, 1939.
Besides the buildings that we just showed you, these copulas behind us are the only things that's standing.
Yeah, there's 3 right here, and then there's another one on each entranceway to Lapeer, plus there's another one by the old courthouse. We're going to go take a look at that now. These were taken from the tops of the buildings at Oakdale. I'm not sure when they were moved here to the downtown area, but here is where they are and where they've been for quite some time. Here's one on top of the farmer's market here in town.
We may never know the tragic events that happened while the people were staying at Oakdale.
Yeah, we may never know how many bodies are buried here, what put them here, how they died. There aren't a lot of answers here. Nobody really wants to talk about it. If y'all know more, start a conversation in the box below. For now, be sure to hit the like button, smash the subscribe button, and ring the notification bell so you can come along with us on future adventures.
Come along, let's get out of here. It's starting to rain.
Yeah, time to go.